Good evening. I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Boston, the investigation continues into the Tsarnaev brothers. The motivations, we're told, religious. The travels of the older, now deceased brother, Tamerlan. In the meantime, as we wait for more evidence to emerge from how they built the bombs, who they were in communication with, the digital record, we turn to Canada. Within this last day, the RCMP announcing the arrest of two young men, neither of them are Canadian citizens, both of them holding residence. The one who is most interesting right now is Chiheb Essegar, 30 years old, a nanobiotechnology student in Canada, and he is now under arrest and has been charged in a Toronto court. He represented himself. The conclusions are drawn from words and facts that are not what they appear to be, he said in court. He refused an attorney. Joining me now is Bill Roggio, the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies Long War Journal. Bill is reporting on the Long War Journal site right now what we know about Mr. Essegar, including an interesting and important digital connection that is often turns up as a clue when we're dealing with young men who look innocent and well groomed and intelligent and extremely focused, and in the case of Essegar, an intelligent man who is in a highly desired field, nanobiotechnology. But there's always a clue on their social media sites. Bill, a very good evening to you. The clue that you've developed at Long War Journal for Essegar. Good evening. What is it?
Good evening, John. Yeah, this is interesting. Yesterday I took a look at his LinkedIn profile, it's a social networking site, and lo and behold, right at the top was an image of the banner for the Islamic State of Iraq, or Al-Qaeda in Iraq. This banner was first put out by Abu Musab al-Zakari, and it's been adopted by other Al-Qaeda groups, and it's basically considered to be Al-Qaeda's flag, Al-Qaeda's official flag. That was up until last night. I fortunately took a screenshot of it. Right. And it was taken down sometime between when I went to bed last night and sometime when I woke up this morning. Not surprising, but it's a pretty clear indication that he's a jihadi. It's like it'd be like if we suspected he might be a Nazi and he posted a swastika. Right.
And there's a symbol that represents Al-Qaeda, Zarqawi. However, it says Chiheb Essegar, and underneath that, this is the LinkedIn page, you all have one, PhD student at INRS, which is the institute where he was studying in nanobiotechnology. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Research, he indicates. Previous, he was at the University of Sherbrooke, and he also lists Tunis. Tunis, interestingly, IPEST, Tunis. That is an important connection needing to be explored. His education is from Tunis, Tunisia. We're assuming INSAT, an institute in Tunis. And Bill, down in the lower right, connections 4. Don't we want to know who those 4 connections are, Bill?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to take a look at those as well. I didn't pursue that far, but I would...
Well, the page is taken down, Bill. We're blocked to it now. All right, what we know about Essegar, let's help everybody understand, because you've been reporting on the jihadis for many years, Bill, and you see things right away that are not obvious to the rest of us. The pattern, this is a young man studying in Canada, and now the accusations of the RCMP is that he and his colleague, who was not in court today, Jasser, he and his colleague were planning to attack a train traveling from Toronto to New York. It sounds ludicrous. It sounds preposterous. Is this typical of the kind of outsized, outlandish, extravagant, and what you'd have to say at this point, extremely impractical attack that jihadis come up with when they're living in this country or in Europe?
Well, the thing is one of the things they really want to target is public transportation. We've seen numerous plots, starting with 9/11 attack, using airplanes. You had the London tubes bombings, you had Madrid, you had plots in the United States to plant bombs on trains. Abu Matalib attempting to blow up an aircraft over Detroit on Christmas Day. So So I think that part of it, when I look at that, I say, look, they're looking to hit public transportation. There's a lot of people on public transportation. You could cripple movement in and out of cities and cause fear and panic that way. And there's probably a economic impact to that. I just don't know enough as far as what their plan was to derail a train. But, I'm going to say one thing, John. Given this guy's science background,
right,
I'd be real curious to see what this plot was. He's not your average, Richard Reed shoe bomber who, seemed a couple slices short of loaf of bread. I think this guy probably had a little bit more knowledge than your average, Al-Qaeda mule. And another thing here, too, is a lot of Al-Qaeda operatives, by the way, aren't just, some stupid jihadi that's, picking the straw from his toes. He's just the latest in a line of engineers and very educated people, individuals who have seemed to have sought jihad. So, it goes a long way to dispel the notion that, that this guy is doing it because he's poor and he had bad education and whatnot.
I'm looking at the National Post, which within the last hour has updated the reporting on Esseguer. At this point, they're identifying him as having been born in Tunisia, in Tunis, and that he emigrated or traveled to Canada for the first time in 2008 on a student visa. That is recognizable as a pattern reaching back as early as KSM himself, coming to the United States and studying in North Carolina. He was granted permanent residence under Quebec's skilled worker program. That is what Bill means by not your average jihadi mule. This is a very well-educated man, and I corrected. It's called Bio-Nanotechnology Lab. Bill, I have to flag this. A jihadi in a lab, especially a biology lab, you've got to worry about biological weapons, Bill.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, he says he's a physics is what it is.
Right.
So, you have all those type of skill sets that are going to come with that, nanotechnology, biology. Yeah, this is a frightening operative, and it makes me wonder if there may, and I don't want to over-speculate here, but when you look at what his credentials are, and he seems to be the real deal, he is indeed a scientist, it makes you wonder why he's getting involved just in a, random plot to blow up a train or derail a train. You wonder if there perhaps he could have been better used, or if there might be more to this.
The other suspect, Jasser, 35, his father Muhammad and his mother and brother watched as he was brought into court wearing a black skull cap. I go to the testimony of the colleagues of Mr. Esseguer in the INRS's biotechnology lab. One young man said he acted like a brainwashed person, and boy does this remind us of Hassan, Bill. He was threatened with expulsion in the school for disruptive behavior motivated by strict religious views which alienated his colleagues. He tore down posters he did not approve of and pestered the administration to install a prayer room. Doesn't that sound like Hassan and others? We watch them go radical, and then we're surprised when they're involved in a fantastic plot.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like a Major Nadal Hassan. All the warning signs are there. Everyone's seeing them, and everyone's ignoring them. At some point we have to get beyond this political correctness, this fear to discuss issues of religion and particularly of Islam, and start asking the hard questions and start, pointing it out that maybe these types of actions are indication that someone might be a radical.
And, Bill, the links to Al-Qaeda and Iran, that was in the first day of reporting. Have they stood up today?
Yeah, I mean, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said that there are ties to Al-Qaeda in Iran. They did not provide any details on this.
Right.
So all we know is what they said basically yesterday, that there is linkages to Al-Qaeda in Iran. We haven't been given any further information, but we do know that plots have been hatched from Al-Qaeda operatives in Iran, and that the U.S. Treasury Department has gone out of its way over the last several years to detail Al-Qaeda operatives in Iran and their connections to international plots.
Bill Roggio, the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Clearly a developing story. The Boston bombers aside, an Al-Qaeda link to Iran plot in Canada, a very well-educated young man now in court. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.